It is Scarves and Spikes post-game edition. Well, not really post-game edition. The day after LA United's 2-0 loss to the Columbus Crew. Sydney with you. Tyler not with you. Tommy with you. Tommy was in Columbus. How's it going? How's your trip back?
Spaces kept me awake. That was a lot of fun. It was probably the fastest ride I've ever had home. I got on Spaces like the minute I got in my car, and next thing you know, I'm back in Cleveland.
You almost got to the accident, did you? Did I hear that correctly? Or
I don't think so. I don't know. I was half awake, so maybe.
But you said you almost some guy almost got you into an accident or something like that. I may have heard wrong or something. But glad you made it back in one piece to the land, as they call it.
Yeah, I guess.
Do they really call it the land?
Yeah, people do. People love to call it the land. I don't know.
Yeah.
But it was a good game. It was a good time down there. I will tell you, the Columbus Crew have a good fan base. If you know the story of them almost losing their team, my first MLS game was at Old Crew Stadium, and I remember walking in there with my wife. It was my first MLS game. I'm finally getting to MLS. Wasn't planning on coming to Atlanta, right away. I go to that stadium, and it looks like a high school stadium, right? And like the place was dead. There was like nobody there, and I'm like, is MLS like really just like a startup?
Right.
Like where is everybody, right?
Welcome to MLS,
and now you see
right?
where they're at now, right? Because they were leaving, and then all of a sudden people were like, hell no, the Crew's gone. We need to save them. And what did they do?
Yeah.
They saved the team. They won a championship and built a beautiful new stadium. It was a good time.
Yeah, it is a beautiful ground. Lord.com field is a beautiful ground. I've been there for a U.S. men's national team World Cup qualifier. But yeah, just a beautiful facility. And again, the Crew. I mean, they have been you talked about they almost lost the team. The Save the Crew movement came out of that, and yeah, they're still around. As for Wednesday night, that's a different story.
No.
I guess.
So we talk about Chris Armas blowing it all the time. Did Gonzalo Pineda blow it?
No, hold on. What do you mean blow it? Are you saying the technical arrangement was wrong for the match, or?
I was sitting next to Doug before the lineups came up, and obviously he gets the heads up, right? And he said, when the lineups come out, you are going to be shocked. And Doug asked it, so Doug was kind of setting it all up for that, right? That Saba could potentially be taking the Almada spot. So in my mind, that's what I'm thinking, because you've got to, how are you going to survive this game, right? Or how are you going to get there? And it seems like the goal of this game was to keep it 0-0 as long as you can, or keep it within a goal, and just hope that you're able to create some type of chance.
And yet,
Yeah, I mean, they did a decent job for a while keeping Columbus at bay, right? And that was great, like early
yeah,
on, and then they started gaining momentum, and just more momentum, and then the goal happens, and Ronald Hernandez happened. I'm sure we'll get into that, but I don't know, like putting in two guys that haven't played much,
yeah.
Fortune and Ronald Hernandez, it's a choice. It really is. I understand you want to try something different here and kind of attempt here to just keep it low scoring, but I don't know if
Mm,
that was it. And Ronald Hernandez has played this position before, right? In Leagues
yeah,
Cup. What happened?
yeah.
Sydney, tell me what happened in
And
that game.
they lost to Memphis.
Well, in Leagues Cup.
Oh, Leagues Cup. You're talking about Leagues Cup. Oh, yeah. I thought you said U.S. Open Cup. Yeah, I mean, Miami happened. Lionel Messi happened.
Yeah.
Um,
And just to know, because like Zil says here, Fortune was one of our better players. I agree. I thought Fortune was good, and Pineda agreed. I asked him how he thought Fortune was, and he thought that he had great. He said there was a lot of great individual performances, and even Ron Hernandez had a few moments, but the two that he had, oh boy, they
and you
were they
mentioned,
were not it.
yeah, you mentioned individual performances being good. I mean that's all well and good, but the collective has to be good. And last night, Wednesday night, the collective was not good, and you saw the result. Atlanta United just couldn't get anything going in the attack. And I heard Doug asking Brad Gazan why that was. And it's tough to get an answer out after the match, after you just lost 2-0. And with your season now on the line, one loss means you're done for the year. I mean, it's a tough question to answer in the moment. And he said, look, we need to, take a look at what went wrong essentially and fix it. And yeah, you gotta get service to Yakimakis. They could barely get service to Yakimakis. I think his total touch count was like under 20 or something like that. That was super low. They showed it at
And it
halftime. I
was
think
all
he
in
had,
the midfield.
yeah,
Like he's having to go back into the midfield to create chances for himself.
yeah, it's not good. You don't want your striker doing that. But yeah, they're showing it at halftime. I don't know if you saw it. I don't know if you had MLS season pass pulled up in the press box, but they showed Cucho Hernandez and Yakimakis. By the way, congrats to Yakimakis, newcomer of the year, well deserved. That was announced earlier. Um,
Thank
you're shaking
God.
your head,
Thank
yeah.
God. If it was Messi, my mind would explode. Like, I don't even think technically he was eligible with the rules that were
he
there.
was,
He was. He
he
barely hit
was,
it.
he was on the ballot.
I understand that he's on the ballot, but you make stupid rules for out of this world. You know, give him the most subscriptions earned award. Like, give him that. Cool. Thanks, Messi. You got that. But Yakimakis 100% deserved that. And like, bravo to Atlanta United uh, for the video they put out there of him, showing his friends and family talking about him winning that. And uh, great moment by Yakimakis, by the way. Like, his friends speaking English. And he's like, why the hell was I? He didn't say hell, but why are you
Right.
having this guy speak English? That was pretty good.
Yeah. So congrats to him, and yeah, good on him. Well deserved. I think it was him, Messi, and was it Roman Burki on there too? I don't have the ballot pulled up in front of me right
I
now,
don't
but
remember.
I think it was
There was only
Burki
two
or
people
somebody
that were
like
going to
that.
win that award.
Right, exactly, exactly. So yeah, congrats to Yorgos. But going back to the game, I mean, he didn't get barely anything, and it showed on the stat line. Um, one shot, and it was a wide shot by Jay Fortune, no less. And that was their only shot of the whole night. I mean, that speaks to something not being right, and it was a bad time for them to not do anything in the attack. The good news is, and we'll get into a little bit more. Good news is, it's best of three, not knockout stage, and that being said, though, you're playing with borrowed time. You're on borrowed time right now because if you lose at Mercedes-Benz Stadium at Tuesday, you're done. And I would like to think that this team can get into the right mindset, get into the right um, frame, and know that hey, we're up, our backs are against the wall. We're facing adversity, our biggest adversity of the year, or most adversity of the year. We have to win at home to force a game three. And part of me thinks they will, but again, I mentioned this the other day. I mentioned this after the game. I'm not confident that they're going to win back to get games against this team. Columbus is just too good, just too many weapons, too much chemistry, the attack. And yeah, I'm just very pessimistic about the chances they have during the rest of this series. I know Tyler was very optimistic that Atlanta would sweep. That's off the
That was the
table,
NyQuil.
obviously. Yeah.
That was the NyQuil that he's on. That's
But,
why he's still recovering. But
yeah.
Sydney, we got to stop the show for 1 second because
Why?
there's every once in a while there's a comment that comes out in here, and it sends me on a loop. So it starts
Right.
Emilio here with Yakamakis as a 10 would have been entertaining. Now that comment right there, I could live with it. But the follow up to this comment, Emilio is going to get you banned from Scarves and Spikes for eternity. Are you ready for it?
Show
Service
it.
to Barry. Yakamakis as the 10 and servicing to Barry. Emilio, congratulations. You've won the first Banned from Scarves and Spikes award.
Nah,
I will find you a trophy for it.
yeah.
Congratulations. You are the weakest link. Ugh, I got to take Advil.
Uh,
And
yeah.
back with the show. Okay.
Right. We love Amelia. Thanks for watching and listening.
But not for the comment. Not for the comment.
Yeah. And one of our patrons, by the way, patreon.com/Scarf and Spikes plug. Thanks, Amelia. So yeah, I mean, let's talk about the tactics. I think we talked about it earlier, the lineups and the tactics, and we were talking about it. Felt Atlanta United were just not. They were just sitting back and looking to let the game come to them. And I think the idea was, hey, let's tire them out and bring in our big guns in the second half. Now the problem was that ultimately, ultimately the crew were able to go in on the scoreboard right before the half, which is demoralizing. And who else but Kucher Hernandez right in the middle of things again. And we talked about
Rocket. A pure
yeah,
rocket.
yeah, give him credit. It's a really good goal, but yeah, the other Hernandez, Ronald Hernandez, needs to do a better job in that situation. I see people blaming
Check him off the
Gazan.
ball. Check him
Yeah,
off the ball. You had the angle for it. You could have just knocked him off, and he just let him right by.
yeah, but yeah, exactly, exactly. Yeah, I saw people blaming Gazan. I mean, Gazan. Let me say this. Gazan, for what it's worth, he had a decent game. He made some
He's
decent
okay.
saves. I mean, yeah. I mean, it wasn't great, but he had a decent game. I mean, he's not at fault for that goal. I mean, it's just a good strike by Cucho. And then the penalty, man, I it's just so soft. It's just really soft. He yes, he gets him in the shin. Yes, absolutely. But he just goes down. Alex Matan just goes down way too easily in that situation. And I think yeah, it's a soft penalty, and B, why is VAR not intervening in that situation, saying, "Hey, look, let's take a look at this again just to make sure." Because to me, and I've said it, say it again, it's just Matan just goes down too easily. He's play acting, right? He's trying to make something happen in the box. He catches contact on the shin, and again, I'm not arguing that, but he just goes down much too easily in that situation, and that's the thing that got me. I mean, I've seen that not called, I think, or I've seen that called the other way for simulation. But again, why not have VAR take a look at it and
They
just make
rushed it.
sure? Yeah,
They
it,
flew. That was
it,
one of the fastest PKs from being called to happening that I've seen in a long time.
yeah, it's disappointing to me at least. Some will disagree. Milan saying in the chat, you know, he thought it was a dive, but Hernandez did step on Matan's foot. So I don't know. It's just to me, it's soft, very
Was
soft.
that the
So
Silva pass that happened right before it? Like this, like Silva lost it and then passed it back, and then Columbus got the ball. Was that how it was set up? Because man, Silva was trash
yeah,
yesterday. He was bad.
yeah. You need it. You need him to be better,
But I
especially
thought,
given the
and correct me if anyone in the chat, because I remember that I remember the play where Silva passed, like he lost control of it and really wasn't even forced back, but he made a bad pass and it got straight. It was taken by Columbus and then was in trouble. I'm pretty sure that's how that penalty was led to. But yeah,
yeah. I'll have to look back.
but then the goal. I mean, in the just the the dives. I mean, Columbus was just falling down. Someone said, "Boy, they watch a lot of Philadelphia Union games before this because, yeah, they were going down. And I don't remember them going down
Eden Moore
that
has hit.
much."
How many times has Eden Moore has hit the ground? I mean, it's ridiculous.
Okay, it was Caleb Wiley's turnover, and or okay, so yeah, so Silva was for the PK. Yeah, all right, so I had it right.
Yeah,
I mean, there was some bad plays across the board, but can we talk about Mayumba? Because
yeah.
man, that crowd was on him. They were chanting "Send him off" multiple times, and the two loudest times I heard were anytime Brad Guzan touched the ball. Man, the boos. They hate Brad Guzan in Columbus, Ohio. And then, I mean, Mayumba was, "What are you doing?" We were gonna go. We were gonna go into this game now saying that we were without one of our best midfielders again. Like, and he's very lucky that last one. And then when you saw
Yeah,
when they were all, I mean, the entire Columbus crew team was around. Like it was like they were trying to sacrifice the ref at that point, just get him into that circle and send him to the fifth layer of hell. Like that's what they looked like they were gonna do. And then he's like walks over, he takes Mamba by himself and just has that talk, and it's like
yeah.
he cannot touch the field when this starts back up. If he breathes on someone the wrong way, he
He's
is
done.
gone. Oh yeah,
He's done. Um, I mean, yeah. Muyumba, I think the moment was just it may have gotten too big for him. And Milan saying, you know, the referee blew the call on Muyumba and make Columbus target him. Lucas Bala was shocking last night, on Wednesday night, and I don't like to blame Rez. I don't want to blame Rez, but it was just very inconsistent. You if you're going to call it for one team, again, he's not the reason why Atlanta lost. So I don't want to make it seem like it is. But if you're going to call it on one team, call them both teams, both sides. And Lucas Spala, I don't think did that. I think he did have a good handle on the game. I think again there are several calls that he let go for Columbus that Atlanta were called for. And not to say they're targeting Atlanta, but again, it just wasn't even, just very uneven. The best referees are consistent. The best referees know how to call games evenly to not make it seem like one team is getting the benefit of the doubt more than the other. And I don't think Lucas Spalla did that. Um, so I didn't hear, and correct me if I'm wrong, I didn't hear anyone ask about the penalty that was called um, in the second half given to Cucho. I would have blamed Pineda for being upset about that, maybe in the moment. But he's made his feelings known about the referees already. So I don't think it would be wise to have him set off again and risk a fine from MLS. So that's just my 2 cents of the officiating.
yeah.
But yeah, Muyenba has to know better though. Sitting on a yellow. Yeah, and yeah, absolutely. Columbus targeted him because yeah, they had to. But Muyenba has to keep his head at the same time. And good on Pineda for getting him off at halftime. I think that's 100% the right call.
Yeah. I mean, and they got Yakimakis off a little bit early as well. you know, they knew the game was pretty much done at that point. Getting Yakimakis off, I think, was good. Just prepare yourself for the next game. At that point, you threw some guys in, get a little bit of play. Tyler Wolf came in, and I don't know. I thought they created a couple chances towards the end. I mean, obviously it's game state, right? Columbus just kind of sitting back and letting them do what they want. I don't know. You have to start your best lineup the next game, and I
Mhm.
you know they gave us Brad, and then they gave us Saba, which I thought was interesting that Saba came to talk. I mean, he seemed down, and one of the questions we asked were just, is this offense? And we asked Brad this too. Is the thing is just to put Amada back in the lineup, and does that fix things? Right? Just get back to what you were doing prior, and everything's going to be okay. And nobody really wanted to say it, but I think that's your hope. But let's remind ourselves, Atlanta did not play very well against Columbus at home either. Like that
Yeah.
game, yeah, I mean it was 1-1, but there were many chances from Columbus where they just had one guy. Atlanta had to make some diving saves, diving stops to stop 2-on-1s left and right. It wasn't easy for them. And obviously Miles Robinson had to get that, last minute header in to get the point. But it was not easy. And the
Yeah.
shots in that game, I got to go back and look here because we it was something like 3 shots, I think, against them. Or you know what? That was the other game in Columbus. But obviously that was an entirely different situation. But you were outshot 12 shots, 13 shots, I think, in this game. And the one in Columbus, you were outshot 12. 22 shots to
Mhm.
10 at home. Six on target by them, 4 for us. And that was, with likely what you're going to see on Tuesday.
Yeah. Yeah. I think Wednesday was the wrong time to experiment. I mean, I understand, like I said, I understand I understand what his plan was to do against Columbus, but I forget who it was that was making this point on X. He was saying that other teams have tried it. I mean, it could be Felipe. I could be wrong, but other teams have tried kind of the tactical setup that Pineda tried against Columbus, and it didn't work. So yeah, why do something that didn't work? I mean, it just seems just counterintuitive, and I don't want to make this Pineda out or anything like that. I think he's coming back next year, regardless of how things turn out. But
We
yeah,
already got the Doug bomb. We got the Doug
yeah,
bomb, right?
exactly,
I mean, he
exactly,
said that Pineda's coming back. I know Zilf asked that question there, like if they get swept, and um, people on Spaces were, you know, hey, that's the time to overreact, right? Immediately after a
right.
game, sports
That was
fans
the day
don't.
after, yeah.
Yeah, sports fans don't react well hours after a game, right? They want
Really?
someone's head, right? And they try to go for Brad because he didn't stop a penalty. Get out of here with that. But
I thought
obviously the Pineda, you lost in the Open Cup, you've lost in Leagues Cup, and now you're down 0-1. If you get swept, does that change everything, right? Like, all of a sudden, is it, yeah, Pineda's coming back, but we didn't really expect to get swept. So maybe we are going to think about getting rid of him. Like, we know this roster has limitations, and we've talked about it now since we've come back and we've done well. And we have done well since Leagues Cup. That this team, the starting lineup, just the starting lineup of what we're going to get on Tuesday, right? And what we got, in Cincinnati, besides, Brooks Lennon should have been in there. It's good. It's one of the best in the league. But
yep.
if you have one injury, we didn't think it was going to be one suspension. We said it was going to be one injury, but one suspension to a player completely takes this team apart. And
Yeah.
that's Almada. I mean, and obviously it's like Almada's the big one, right? Like Brooks Lennon's out, obviously that's going to hurt. Maybe you put in Ronald Hernandez in that position and it's not as detrimental to the team. But, Almada, Yakimakis, those are the ones, you can't hurt. You can't lose, right? Miles Robinson's another big one that you definitely need back there. Like, you missed that guy and it completely tore this team apart. That's why depth is going to be so important this offseason, is to get better contracts. Get rid of the high dollar contracts of these backups or some of the starters, and you know fill your team so that when you're in a situation like this, you don't completely fall down.
If Almada played in match one, do you think Atlanta United wins?
No,
Me neither. Me neither. I mean, Almada can't play defense. I think. I mean, I know that the scoreline would be a little bit more different than it was that
the
it turned
shots would have
out.
been different.
Yeah, exactly. The shots would have been
You would have
different. The
had a
chances
shot on
would have been
goal
different.
for sure.
Yeah, exactly. But no, I don't know if they win, even with Almada. Now going into match two, I think it's a different story because they're at home and they have the crowd behind them. I think the sense of urgency ramps up a little bit more, and they know, okay, we got to win to keep our season alive. But yeah, I don't think in match one, if you were there, it would have made much of a difference to the score line itself, or the result, I should say. So, yeah, it speaks to depth. That speaks to, um, yeah, but going back to what you were saying about depth, and if one player goes down, that's a mess. A lot of teams, good teams, don't have that problem. Good teams, it's next man up. I I'll use the analogy of Georgia football. A lot of our listeners and viewers are Georgia fans, and Brock Bowers, arguably the best tight end in the country, was injured. He has a ankle sprain. Georgia has players, or had players against their last game. They played Florida. They had players that stepped up. I think because Oscar Delp is a sophomore or something like that. He stepped up and had a terrific game. Vlad McConkey, one of the wide receivers, had this best game as a Bulldog, I believe. Dom Lovett, a transfer from Missouri, had a career game. So they had players that could come in, and the mentality of that team is next player up, next man up. With Atlanta United, it's not that. And like you were saying, Tommy, yeah, absolutely. In the off season, they have to focus on significant depth. TRA is a good start for striker, and Barry, essentially, he's on borrowed time. He's gone at the end of the season. There's no place for him really on this team.
I made a
Who?
list today.
Yeah, say it again.
I made a full on list today.
Oh, yeah.
I tweeted it out. Check it out. But like, you look at the list of players that could potentially be out. I mean, you're not going to be able to move all of them, but there's a lot of guys that that could be gone,
Yeah.
and some of them are going to be like you likely Josetu's not getting renewed.
Mhm.
Miles Robinson, like those are high salaries right there. Like those are like two of your top 12 salaries
Yeah.
right there. Sosa, is one that's probably they're gonna figure a way to get him out. Yeah, you're gonna be able to definitely this team's gonna be very different, but also very similar. Like as far as your starting lineup goes, I don't think you're gonna change a ton of it with it. Obviously, if Almada goes, then it is going to be very different. But yeah, I mean, you've got hope though, and I think that was my point because it was a lot of negativity last night after the game, and I understand it. But we knew, and that's someone said, and Emilio puts in here. Question is, will Pineda be renewed once his contract ends after 2024 for hiring in the 5th and 7th? And someone, I think Zilf asked, is Pineda gone if we get swept? Garth Lagerwey knows this roster's limitations. I think he understands that. He's a smart guy, right? He did give him a lot of tools, and I thought with the tools of what he's done in the regular season after Leagues Cup, it was very good. But you still had problems with the top of the
Yeah.
league, right? You couldn't beat
Yeah.
Columbus. You drew Columbus. You drew Cincinnati. You
Mhm.
lost against Philadelphia. And I think Doug said the only team that we beat and above, in that top playoff area was Philadelphia at home earlier in the year. So, and that's been a problem now for years. You can't you can beat up on the other teams that are around you or hovering around you or below you. But if you're going to move it to the big time, you've got to start beating the teams, the elite teams. And New England was, one of them. You got to beat New England. You got to beat Orlando, Cincinnati, Columbus, like all these teams. You've got to start being able to take the game to them. I think they're getting close to where they need to be, but they've got they got till the summer. I think because the
Okay.
huge laundry list I put, it's not going to be all fixed in one window. There's just no way. They've done more than what I thought. I still think we're farther than where we probably should be. You
All
know,
right.
and I think this transfer window that we just had, I think shocked a lot of people on what you did. Right, you bring in two wingers, you bring in a backup striker. You're really changing a lot of. I think you got Mayumba. Like you've upgraded a lot of you've upgraded your starters, and now you've got more money coming, a ton of money that's going to be available to you. Another
All right.
DP spot. It's good, but right now, try to force game 3. I think it's just good for the fan base. It's good to just show that these guys have it and that they could push and they could push it home. We're a very good home team. That's what the fans want. They want to win. They want to win here. If you lose in Columbus, you lose in Columbus. But let's not get swept. And I think for Pineda and all the questions, I mean, we're already seeing them in our chat. We saw them in Spaces yesterday. Like, this guy needs this win on Tuesday, and I hope he gets it.
Yeah, agreed. I mean, and I mentioned this, before. I mean, it could be the last time you play at Mercedes-Benz Stadium this year. Um, it looks like all of the home matches, or all of the series right now, are trending toward the higher seeds winning. And we mentioned this already. St. Louis was the only higher seed that lost. Um,
Who called
in
that?
the Yeah. um, right. But yeah, all the higher seeds or the better seeds won except St. Louis. So they are trending toward, yeah, if Atlanta United get it out of the series, they'll never play another home game this season. So there's going to be that, you have to take into account. This is the last time, probably 99% chance this is the last time this team is playing in front of a home crowd this year. So they're going to be thinking about that. They're going to at least want to give their fans one final good memory at home, and excuse me, get the better of a team that they have struggled against. They haven't beaten since like 2021. So that's going to be something that is going to be hanging over them too. Columbus has become, somewhat of a bogey team for this team, much like the Red Bulls were, much like DC United was. Um, they just have struggled to beat them. I mean, yeah, they drew at home, but as good as that was, as celebratory the move that was, I mean, it wasn't a win. Granted, if you draw, of course, in the playoffs, you go straight to penalties. But then you get into this whole thing about Atlanta United's mindset about penalties. I don't think they've won a penalty shootout in their existence. They haven't had a lot, but they haven't won any. So that's something
Why
else
did
you need to
Parada
think
miss that
about.
shot? Why did Parada miss that shot?
Yeah, but
I'm
there's
not
just
salty.
right. There's just so many factors to take into Tuesday night that Atlanta United will have on their minds, and maybe, yeah, again, this final potentially home match of 2023 gives them a chance to go out, maybe not with a bang, but again, give fans some hope going into the what could be a final match, a do or die
Hey,
match 3.
I have
But
breaking news about Tuesday.
what you got?
Well,
You gonna be there?
long as things work out, I'm flying in for it.
Are you?
Yeah,
Okay.
I got permission. I got permission from my boss. I got permission from my other boss, which is AKA my wife. Uh, so
Nice.
yeah, if you need someone to sit next to in the press box, I will. I'll be coming to hang out
Okay. Well, we'll be glad to have you back in Atlanta.
for
Hopefully the
24.
weather
Literally, I'm leaving at 6 in the morning on Tuesday, and my flight is at 5:30 on Wednesday.
turn and burn.
My, I'm gonna
Right.
have to go. I've had no energy drink since February. That will be broken. But yeah, I feel like I need to be here for this. We haven't experienced a home playoff game in a long time, and my whole rant about who gets crazy on a Tuesday night, this guy's gonna get crazy on a Tuesday night.
Not too crazy though.
Oh yeah, not too crazy. I'll keep my shirt on.
Yeah.
Unless Yakamaka scores a hat trick, right? That's what you.
Hey, I mean, I don't want you to get banned for the press box.
No. Just you just gotta have one time, right? Just one time.
Yeah. Um, you want to look ahead to the other playoff matches going on, the match two, the group of match twos going on, real
Yeah.
quick.
Do you think there's you talked about it? You know, the only lower seed that won was um, Sporting Kansas City.
Mhm.
How many of these do you think are sweeps?
Yeah, let's go through them one by one, really. Red Bull Cincinnati, and Dallas Seattle both on Saturday. Um, Red Bull Cincy, I think Cincinnati wins that one on the road. I really do. They're just too talented, and Red Bulls
Agreed.
are. It, I mean, it could be Red Bulls could rally in front of the home fans and make this a series, but even if they do, I don't think they're going to win at TQL. Nobody does. Only, well, I mean, they did in the regular season, but I don't think they have the strength and firepower in them to, yeah, make it
So you
a
say
3 game
sweep.
series. Yeah, I say sweep for that. Dallas,
Okay.
Seattle. I think I think Dallas wins that one. Back at
Agreed.
Toyota Stadium. I think they have the better chance of you know between them and Red Bulls. I think they have a better chance of making it a 3 game series. So I think they beat Seattle. Um, Kansas City, St. Louis, Vancouver, LAFC, Kansas City, and St. Louis. I think that they may go to penalties. I think Kansas City won't go down quietly. They're going to be playing in a vibrant Children's Mercy Park. The Cauldron always brings it. So this team
So you
has a
think
chip.
Kansas City sweeps?
Yes,
Okay.
yes. That's what
Yeah,
I'm
I
trying to
agree.
say.
I think they sweep and it'll be pretty cool. And I think LAFC sweeps as well.
Yeah, yeah. Just too
Van-
much talent. LAFC. Too
yeah,
much talent.
Vancouver's
LAFC.
not
So
it.
yeah.
The
Salt Lake
West
and Houston.
sucks. The West is
Yeah,
just bad. There's so many bad teams. Like, can we just award LAFC and just move them on
right.
to MLS Cup at this point? Because I think that they're definitely getting there. I think LAFC
I
is going to
agree.
win it again.
I, I think so. I could see that happening. Maybe in LAFC, LAFC Cincinnati MLS Cup, and LAFC repeats. But we can leave that a little bit later on. I'm getting
I
way
might
ahead
go
of
to
this.
that if that's a thing.
Well, it would be.
It'd be
Oh
in
yeah, it will
it'd be
be
in
in
Cincinnati.
Cincinnati. Yeah, Cincinnati more have more. Yeah, sports
That'd
have
be
more
worth a drive to go to that one.
Yeah, yeah. Let us know. Let us know. Monday night, RSL Houston. I think that could go to penalties. You're rolling your eyes. I think that could go to penalties, and Salt Lake maybe RSL maybe holds on and makes that a 3 game series. I don't think they'll sweep. And then Nashville, Orlando. Nashville just have too many issues. I mean, even though they'll
I
be
was
at
just gonna say the
home.
RSL series is just listed as I don't care about that series at all. I don't care about either one of those teams. What's the next one you said?
um, Nashville, Orlando. I
That
think
one's good. I
Orlando.
think that one's going 3.
Think it's going 3.
Yeah, I think
Are you
so.
so you're thinking? Are you thinking in terms of the way that Nashville play? I mean, they only lost 1-0 in Orlando. I mean, they could have taken it to penalties if they had taken a couple of chance. They had taken one of their chances, so I could see that.
It's a good atmosphere in Nashville, right? I think they've got a very good atmosphere there. I know Nashville hasn't been fantastic. They definitely slowed down throughout the year. But when you have these rivalries, and I think Nashville and Orlando are becoming one of the bigger rivalries, I think that it's gonna go down to it. I think it's gonna go down to game 3 penalties, which would be really
Um,
cool. And who says Nashville doesn't have drama and penalties this year, right?
right. um, yeah, I mean, I'm not concerned about Nashville's defense. I think if they score first, they'll win. But if they have to chase the game, they fall behind. I don't think they can get back into it. Their attack has just been very lacking. Henry Mkhitaryan's been silent. Sam Surridge has been silent. So I think,
I think they go
yeah,
off. I think they go. I don't think it's
like
a
so.
close one in Nashville. I think it's going to be like a 2-0, 3-1 type game.
Okay,
They can't go down. I can't see Nashville going down quiet with the stars
Yeah,
you just talked about. And their stars were quiet in the last game. I know they didn't score a goal, but they didn't look dangerous in that one. That was one I wanted to make sure I watched because I knew it was going to be a fun game. And yeah, it was, one of the lowest scoring ones, but still it was definitely a hard fought match.
yeah.
And I think it's going to be that way. But I just think that Nashville's going to take it over and we're going to have a fun game in Orlando.
Okay. Final one, Wednesday night, the lone Wednesday night match. New England versus Philadelphia. Philadelphia, of course, have the 1-0 series lead. Um, the whole situation with Kai Wagner, I mean, you hope it's not true, obviously, but it's just horrible. I mean, we went through this with Taxi Funtas from DC United, and now potentially with Kai Wagner. I mean, again, you hope it's not true. You hope it's false. You hope that something was misheard, but I mean,
Has
it's
it
just
ever been misheard, man?
I mean,
Like,
I get it. Yeah, I get it. So that's gonna be hanging over Philadelphia, and again, it's just a unfortunate situation.
how
Given
long?
again, like I
Like,
said,
how long do you suspend it? Like, if there is, how
oh,
long
he's gone.
of a
He's gone. I mean, I think he just signed a contract, or he is in discussion for a contract extension anyway. So I think there's no chance he comes back in this situation. I mean, it did look like he was going to come back anyway, but I mean, this seals his fate. So that's
But does it kick
unfortunately
him
the
out for
off
the whole
field.
play? Like, say they go to MLS Cup, you think he's out for the whole playoffs?
Yeah, I don't think he plays. I don't think he
And I
plays.
guess I don't really, I don't. This league's weird on how they handle some of these things, right? And like they're quiet sometimes when there's situations like this. They don't actually tell you their findings. I mean, look at the whole Revolution situation, right? Like it was so quiet for such a long time. You still never really got any
Right,
answers of what went down. And
right.
then you get some players that get suspensions for like a game. What Sosa got two, right?
Yeah,
I mean, Sosa got
yeah.
two, and they have to go to don't be an a hole class,
Right.
right? Like
Exactly.
that's what I call
Exactly.
it. Like at this point, I our entire management, our work is going to like diversity training and everything
Right.
like that. And I was thinking about that while I was sitting in there. So I'm like, I wonder what like because you have like they don't you have to take that class when you come into MLS?
I think so. Yeah, I think so.
How
Um,
not to be an a hole? Let's
yeah,
start. Yeah, it's just
yeah,
silly.
yeah. But no, it's unfortunate, and gosh. Um, but anyway, yeah. On the field, I think. I think still Philadelphia wins and
Yeah.
sweeps the series. um, I think both teams have baggage, like I kind of implied, but I think Philadelphia, talent wise, is able to come out and win the series. I mean, of course, you have Andre Blake, one of the best keepers in the league year in year out. Good news for New England at least. Carlos Hill is good to go. Um, his injury is not long term, so he should be available for match two. But yeah, there's. I just feel like there's too many weapons on Philadelphia's side that could make things miserable for the Revs, and I think they move on to the conference semifinals. So
The
yeah,
revolution burned to the ground after this. And they've got a lot of soul searching, that entire franchise
yeah,
this off season. A
yeah.
lot of soul searching.
They need a new coach. They need. I mean, the players they have. I mean, they lost their keeper middle of the season. This whole situation with him.
Oh, that
Um,
was terrible. I mean
yeah,
that entire situation was handled. I mean the entire
poorly.
yeah, Bruce situation was terrible.
Yeah,
I mean everything that they've done has just been mishandled here and I follow a few of their fans and a few people that cover the team and they're done with them too. Like we were down on Carlos Bocanegra and Darren Eales for
right.
just us sucking, right? But like we
Yeah.
didn't have these situations that they're having over there. Like they've got problems beyond soccer
Plus, they
there.
play like 45 minutes outside of Boston. So
Every team hates traveling there because of
yeah,
how they have to travel and to get there and get out, and
right. Yeah.
stupid Tom Brady too. Stupid Super Bowl.
Still, still some old wounds to heal, right?
Shit, I hate the Boston Red Sox too. Just hate everything about that city.
What about the Celtics? Do you hate the Celtics?
Yeah, they knocked the Hawks out last year. Screw them too. There's
I
nothing I
hate
like about New England. I hate Clem Chowder. Everything about it just sucks.
I mean, I don't
So
like it.
Atlanta Columbus game 2, right?
Yes. um, do we want to? I mean, I think we'll talk about what the predictions maybe in a few days. I think we're going live on Monday night before the match.
We can't go too late. I have to be up at like 3 in the morning to catch a
Right.
plane. So let's just end early.
Yeah. But yeah, first impressions about match two, I think they'll win. I think they give fans, I think we talked about, something to go home happy about. It could be, again, their final match of the season at Mercedes Benz. So yeah, I think they win. And like I said, I'll give predictions probably Monday when we come back. But what are kind of your impressions?
I'm worried. The reason why I'm worried is that it is an elimination game, and your stars can show up in this one. And I ran into Almada in the press box yesterday. They brought him along. I think it's good to bring him along, watch the game there, support the team. But if I'm him watching this game, I want to play now. Like I think I tweeted yesterday. Like if I'm him, I want to play the game today. Right? He's ready to go. I mean, this is probably his only MLS playoffs that he's going to experience.
Mm.
The problem with Giakoumakis, the problem with Almada, and we've talked about this for a while, is that there's matches where both of them try to do too much. And when they try to do too much, it hurts the rest of the team, right? Like Giakoumakis, I think it was the Cincinnati game, where he was trying to do too much and he was, constantly getting yelled at by the refs. He was getting fouled. He was getting upset. When he's pushing it too hard, the team struggles. When Almada is trying to do too much and he holds on to the ball too long, the team struggles. They're
Yeah.
gonna have to be on their game, and they've got to play team. They got to get everyone involved. They've got to get Saba. Silva has to be back on his game because Silva's been mediocre over the past few games, right?
Yeah.
You got to have a Inter Miami match, right? Because I think that was the game where it was like everybody was flowing together. The passes were perfect. Everybody was in sync up front, and it was just magic that you had. If they can't do that, or they're pushing too hard, they can get embarrassed. They can get knocked out of this building quick. I mean, they could lose 3-4 to 1, right? Or 3-1, 4-1, something like
Yeah.
that, because then you're pushing hard, and obviously like that could happen. If you get down early, this is elimination. So you have to throw everybody out there. Columbus is very good at countering. Very good. And if we're all pushing up to try to get that tying goal, or God forbid you're down 2 goals, it could get ugly and it could be a 4 or 5 nothing blowout. And I don't think that's going to happen, but it's a possibility. So they've got to come out with the right plan. And most importantly, it's the defense. The defense is going to have to be able to keep everyone. I mean, they're going to have to keep track of Cucho, Rossi, everyone out there, and give the offense a chance to be able to do what they want and not have to come back and prevent goals. This is interesting. Emilio says that they said that Almada was back in Atlanta. I hope when I got mushrooms on my pizza, they were real. They weren't, bad mushrooms, because I swear I shook his hand.
I was gonna say that is Almada you saw in the press box, right?
I hope so. If not, there was a lookalike Almada.
Did you run into Stephen Danny, by the way?
I did not.
You did? Okay.
I did not see him around. I didn't see Mike or Jason. I saw Carlos.
Yeah.
Carlos was walking around.
Is Garth there?
And then my buddy Doug and I have become Ohio buddies. We hang out, and Doug followed me on Twitter finally, so that was great. Now I know I've earned his respect, but
There you go.
you know, Doug's a good guy, and I was talking to him about the tweet he did about Brad Guzan the other day, and that got a lot of responses back about, like a lot of this isn't on him, and I agree, and like some people were fighting about penalties and all that, and then
Yeah.
I hop on Spaces, and it's Brad can't stop a penalty. Most
Come
teams can't,
on.
man. Most keepers don't. There's a few that have done multiple, and
David De Gea
they've
can't
also
stop
had like
a penalty.
triple the opportunities.
Andre Onana can't start a penalty. Can stop a penalty, I should say.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry.
Yeah,
Had to do it.
sweet.
Had to do it.
I'm so glad I didn't watch that game yesterday.
Yeah. I felt sorry for you. I felt sorry for Johannes too. Bayern Munich getting knocked out of DFB Pokal by Saarbrücken yesterday. I felt bad for him because he's
I didn't even know that
midfield.
happened, and Doug and I were
Yeah,
sitting next to each other, and he pulled it up on his computer, and he goes, "Oh my god!" And I'm like,
right.
"Oh, I didn't even know it went down."
Yeah, that was something. Magic of the cup, right? Magic of the cup. Um, Final thoughts. You got anything else before we get out of here?
Don't go down in flames. They can't. They've
Yeah.
you got to give the fan base something to be excited about next season. I think, and fighting in this game, Columbus is I do believe a top 4 team to go on and win MLS Cup, and mine are Cincinnati, Orlando, Columbus, and LAFC. Those are my 4. I mean, I don't think it's very controversial what I said. I obviously left Philly out
Yeah.
of there. I don't think Philly's the team to win it, but I think that they're a
Mhm.
top 4 team. I think you need to go head to head with them. You're at home. You haven't had a home playoff game in a long time. What, since Eastern Conference Finals?
Yeah. Yeah. 2019. Yep.
It'll be interesting to see how many people show up, because the whole place isn't open. So you're only going to have 45,000, 40. We'll see how many tickets are actually sold for this. But the fans need to bring it, and then the players need to give it back to the fans. And then, yeah, if you lose in Game 3, there's no
Yeah.
shame in
Go
losing
down.
to one of the best teams in the league.
Go down swinging. Yeah. Exactly. Go down
Yeah,
swinging, and
but if you
don't
have no
embarrass yourself at
shots,
home. Right.
right? If you have no shots, if you keep a performance like this, and the first of 2, like now you're going to be the first. You're going to be the team that's always remembered if this stupid playoff format continues. The only team in MLS history and a best of 3 series that had no shots on net was Atlanta United. We cannot be that Jeopardy answer, right? Or question. What is
It,
Atlanta United? No, 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 no,
right.
no. Let's get a shot on goal, and let's just get rid of that stat, because we are not being on Jeopardy.
It can't be worse than match 1. It can't be worse. Knock on wood. So hopefully you hopefully you got the stink off of you um on match 1 and have come out focused and ready to go for your home fans in match 2, because you may not be playing in front of them until spring. So I think they will.
Damn
I'm
it,
confident.
Emilio. Yes, we remember Joseph missed the PK. This guy today. Emilio, man, what are you doing? Just don't give up a
Um
goal in the 3rd minute. Oh, Sydney.
yeah, Emilio. We love you.
Thank you, Emilio. I'm going to go take some more Advil and go back
um
to bed.
Just a reminder, yeah, before we get out of here, just a reminder, patreon.com/scarves and spikes. Check out what we're doing over there. Scarfsandspikes.com, bonus coverage and articles, previews, all that good stuff. Um, and yeah, link to our shop where we have stickers for you to purchase. Working on more merch, adding more merch down the line for y'all to brag about us and tell the world about us. So be able to look out for that. And yeah, we should be back Monday night to talk about Atlanta Columbus match 2, right?
Yeah. Let's just say that there's a Scarves and Spikes sticker somewhere in Lower.com's field.
Who put it there?
I don't know, but if we get to game 3 and it's still there on Sunday, I'll take a picture of it. It's somewhere.
You ready to get out of here?
Just get it on the Falcon, Sydney. Actually, I could put it on the Falcon on Tuesday. I'm gonna run. I'll get my running in. I'll be ready.
We're all black, so you don't get spotted.
All right, hit the music.
We're all black.
Emilio, come back with positive energy. That's your homework, Emilio. Positive energy on Monday. Yes. We need Emilio Estevez Mighty Ducks energy on Monday.
There you go.
To not get swept.
Thanks,
guys. We appreciate it.
Always appreciate it, and we'll see you next time.